Thank y'all for joining me. We're going to talk a little bit about foreclosures today. We're getting lots of questions about it. Some of y'all know, like Miss Yasleen back there, I think she knows plenty about foreclosures. A lot of y'all are newer and don't know much at all about them. Big question is, are foreclosures coming back? Most likely we'll end up back at our normal healthy foreclosure rate of somewhere between 2 to 4%. Okay, so during the pandemic, they didn't foreclose on anything. Everybody was pushed off. Everything's been pushed off. And is there going to be a huge flood of foreclosures? Probably not. Okay, so a lot of you have customers who are like, ooh, I want a deal. I want to find a foreclosure. All that good stuff. That doesn't happen. The bank wants absolute top dollar for their homes, okay? So they're just like any retail investor. So if you go back and we kind of go through the whole foreclosure process, in the state of Georgia, you can actually be foreclosed on for being 30 days late on your mortgage. Nobody's gonna do that in reality. It's typically gonna be 120 plus days that they're late on their mortgage and they have gone dark on the bank, all right? The whole foreclosure process kind of goes like this. The bank has to advertise the property for foreclosure for 4 consecutive weeks prior to the first Tuesday of the month. So we're a super Tuesday foreclosure state. All foreclosures happen on the first Tuesday of the month on the courthouse steps for where the property is located. So you go down to Fulton County Courthouse, Tuesday morning, first Tuesday, you'll have hundreds of investors around with cashier's checks in their hand, stacks of them. A lot of them close to $1 million. Looking to buy these properties. Because they're advertised the 4 weeks prior to, they see them coming along. You can see that. You can just Google Fulton County foreclosures. There'll be foreclosure notices. You can go in there and search everyone that's received a foreclosure notice in Fulton County, right? And then you can go and you can drive by the house. You can't interrupt the people. You can't do anything like that. There is no financing when buying a home on the courthouse steps, okay? Kind of big things with that, these investors have tons of money. A lot of people worry about, well, what if there's a second mortgage or other liens on the property, things like that. That first mortgage foreclosure wipes out everything except taxes and water bills. So, seen them come up where somebody buys one on the courthouse steps and they got a $20,000 water bill with City of Atlanta. So it's all a gamble on those 2 items. You can't really do any due diligence on it. City of Atlanta won't talk to you, won't tell you what's late on it. There's a lot of different things that can happen there with that. All right, makes sense? Go ahead, Ms. Manuela.
There's a public site for taxes, like on the Fulton County Board of Assessors. Can you check the tax bills to see?
You're talking about tax foreclosures, which is an entirely different animal in and of itself. A tax foreclosure wipes out everything.
No, I was asking that you said people have back taxes to pay. Wouldn't you see that on that side?
Yeah, you'd be able to easily see if they have back taxes on it. That's not typically the issue. The issue is the water bill that you can't see. So, but the first foreclosure is that high up in the chain of everything that taxes, water bill, those 2 items will stay above.
Do the utility companies have a list of people that are, or of property addresses that are behind?
No, they're not gonna share that information with you in most circumstances. There are ways around it. I'll tell you, you can call and pretend to be trying to connect service, and yeah, we won't go in all that, but there's lots of little tricks in that tray. So those guys go to the courthouse steps, they got all kinds of cash. So that's the first thing that's stopping foreclosures from coming to the market, is you have investors who've already done their due diligence and they're bidding against each other. It's an auction. So I'll take it for 120, I'll take it for 130, I'll take it for 140. Sometimes they go out. All right, nobody buys them. Or the bid only goes up to 120,000 and the foreclosure amount was 200,000. So it was foreclosed on for 200,000. In that event, the bank buys the property back at that point at the foreclosure. They bid the foreclosed amount. That debt is written off as a loss and it becomes REO, real estate owned, right? So when you hear foreclosures, it's not really a foreclosure at that point. It's an asset for the bank or asset manager. A lot of banks use asset management companies to handle their REO assets, all right? At that point, it is assigned to a company like our Team Southern REO. I don't know if all of you know we have Team Southern REO, but it's an REO team within our office. All of those properties, not all of them, but properties get assigned to Team Southern REO to be the listing broker. I do the HUD class in here, and we are a local listing broker for HUD, our offices. We also deal with all the big people, Fannie, Freddie. We don't do VA. We do have Chase. There's big servicing companies, nationwide servicing companies, where if you have a mortgage, it gets sold off to this servicing company that service loans like that. Okay, so we work with a bunch of them. We also have hedge funds. So when a property gets assigned, we do what's called an initial occupancy check within 24 hours. So I'm going to give you the whole REO process here. Quick, fast, and I'm going to try and keep it under 3 minutes, okay? Property gets assigned to the local agent. The agent goes out and inspects the property, takes photos, submits whether it's occupied or vacant, right? You got two paths at that point. If it's occupied, it goes down the eviction path, right? So property was foreclosed on the first Tuesday of the month. Eviction is going to take 30 to 60 days. So you see, oh, it's a foreclosure. This has been foreclosed on. Where's it at? I want to put an offer in on the property. I'm trying to figure out what's going on with it. You're 30 to 60 days before the agent even has access to the property. If it's a vacant property, typically we'll get all interior photos, everything within the first 3 days of it being assigned to the brokerage, right? And then we have to do a broker price opinion, which in your world is a CMA. They also order a second opinion from another agent, and a lot of them also order an appraisal. So they want to know the true value of the home. After you go through the eviction process, then it gets back right on this line with it's vacant. Now we can do our broker price opinion. We'll trash out, we'll order repair bids. A lot of times they want to know how much can we spend. Can we spend 50, 70, 100,000? I've seen them spend up to about 200,000 to rehab a property to bring it up to get full retail value. So even if they don't want to fix it, they'll get a bid from us that says it's going to cost $100,000 to rehab this house that in the end will be worth $300,000, right? So I'm giving you numbers here. It's going to cost $100,000 to rehab it. They're going to list it at $200,000. They're not trying to give anybody any room. They want the absolute top dollar that they can get for the house. Does that make sense? Any questions on that? All right. Once it goes through that, once it goes under contract, it depends on who it is. It's kind of the same process. I'll tell you, when dealing with REO teams like ours and others, you're not going to get a phone call back. You guys think listing agents are bad now for y'all that haven't been in the business. 2008 through 2010, it's like, yes, Mike can tell you a story of, I'll give you one question. If you already should know the answer, I'm going to hang up. If not, I'll talk to you. Is the property available? Click. If it's available in the MLS, it's available. I mean, it gets very, very harsh out there in that side of the business. One of the reasons is because you guys are seeing commission prices coming down now in the retail. Commission prices on the listing side are already under 2%. We pay the asset management company a referral fee in most instances. So it's about 1.8, 1.9 is about the average commission percent on that. Plus you have all the property management that's involved as well. We pay utility bills. We front the rehab costs. At one point, Team Southern REO had well over $2 million in accounts receivable, so that we had paid out. So if that kind of gives you anything, once you get to that size, it gets crazy. All right, so all that being said, an REO property is just a bank-owned home that your buyers want, and they're saying, I want to find a foreclosure to get a deal. It's not really a deal in most instances. They're just like any other seller. They want the absolute top dollar that they can get, and they're going to start at the high end. And they will let that property sit on the market for 4 months with no activity, slowly dropping the price until they get somebody. You're not going to come in and it's going to be a $200,000 list price and you're going to be offered $150 and they're going to take it. It just doesn't happen. 2008, right after the big crash, yes, you could have done that. I'll give you $5,000. We were selling $5,000 and $10,000 houses in Atlanta. So would have been a good time to buy. I will tell you, in the MLS, so let me jump into this here. You're looking for how do you search for these homes? I'll tell you, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac say we cannot say that it is a foreclosure home. Do not put that in your listing. It's not a foreclosure. It's real estate owned. It's corporate owned. All right, so that being said, you have these sections down here. Special listing conditions, HUD owned, in foreclosure. They're not in foreclosure, they've been foreclosed on, they are real estate owned. So if you're truly looking for it, look for REO, real estate owned. That being said, you could also end up getting investor-owned properties. What's New Western is one of them. There are lots of big groups that buy homes. They'll rent them, eventually they'll sell them, who knows. So there's Progress Residential is doing it. But that's real estate owned is really what you're looking for. To wrap this all up, why is your buyer looking for a quote unquote foreclosure? Simply they think they're getting a deal, when in reality, it's no better than anything else out there. There is no deal to it. As a matter of fact, you're not going to get any disclosures on top of everything, which is a whole nother, which is probably next week's Huddle session is disclosures and making sure we're doing that right. But it's literally no different. So when they're talking to you, ask them why. And the only thing that they're going to tell you 99% of the time is I'm looking for a deal that I can fix and flip. Well, that's whether it's a retail or an REO, which is they're looking for retail prices for their stuff. There's no guarantee. So get them set up just like you would any other search, like Jay has shown you all of you that are in foundations. Just get them set up on a search. Get all properties going to them. It doesn't make sense to say, I only want a foreclosure, especially when the inventory is actually extremely low. And there are no signs that it's going back to the 20% foreclosure rate that we were dealing with in 2008, 2009. None of us want that. It will absolutely destroy the market. And this is a completely different market. Anyways, it's not a financial crisis issue going on here. The banks aren't giving 100% loan to value loans to people with 600 credit scores. Make sense? Any questions about REO?
So practical application of all of this, great overview. Practical application, somebody says, I want to look at foreclosure homes. The first question out of your mouth should probably be like,
why?
Why? The second question is, are you a cash buyer? If you're not a cash buyer, don't even bother.
Yep.
You're not looking for a foreclosure home, you're looking for an REO home. And guess what? The search I've already got you set up on,
It's going to show you everything.
it's already there.
The banks want the properties listed in both MLSs. Bottom line. So as soon as it's active, it's going in there. You can't submit offers prior to it on their homes. They want full market exposure. A lot of them have 7 to 15-day periods where they won't even look at offers, just because they want top dollar for their homes.
And if your client asks you, can you set me up on a search for it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I've already done it. What you're getting already includes that.
Do you want me to narrow your search so you're not seeing other opportunities that may be out there? Make sense? All right. Any other questions? No? Go ahead, Manuela.
Session about REO because we're expecting more?
No, we're not expecting more. We've been getting more and more questions. Home prices are going so high that I think that our home buyers are asking you all. Everybody's looking for a deal. They want the best possible deal. Well, if you have cash, you don't need me as an agent. You need to be down there at the courthouse steps. Here are the risks involved with that. Cool?
I literally just had a client ask me about foreclosure.
Exactly. All the time. They're looking for the best deal is what they are. I'm going to get a great deal if I get an REO.
And
Yeah, that's debatable.
HGTV generation where people see these
fix and flip. I'm gonna.
fix and flip shows, and they're like, I'm smart enough, I can do that. They're not even smart enough to know the right questions to ask, let alone
Well,
whether or not you can.
most of those homes they're buying are people put signs out and they're, and they get them off of a sign call and on a corner. You've all seen them. We'll buy your house cash 2 weeks, and they're going in there and they're literally, unfortunately, in my opinion, taking advantage of people. Because if those same people listed their house on the open market, they'd get a whole lot more money for it.
Yep, absolutely. We're looking for distressed situations, fixed income. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly. You're taking advantage of them.
Eh,
They could get a whole lot more money for their home on the open market in most instances. Otherwise, I've seen it and I've said it multiple times. If you find a deal that good, I'll buy it. I'd buy it before I gave it to you. Just because we all want to make money at the end of the day, right? So if I see that great of an opportunity, that's it. All right? Thanks a lot.
Thank you.